Welcome to slide number 3, characteristics of a slow learner child. I'm going to quickly tell you the 10 characteristics and then elaborate on that. Functions at ability but significantly below grade level. Number 2 is prone to immature interpersonal relationships. Number 3 has difficulty following multi-step directions. Number 4 lives in the present and does not have long-range goals. Number 5 have few internal strategies like organizing skills, difficulty transferring information. Number 6 scores consistently low on achievement test. Number 7 works well with hands-on material. Number 8 has poor self-image. Number 9 works on all tasks slowly. And number 10 master skills slowly. Some skills may not be mastered at all. Now let me elaborate on this. Slow learners have limited cognitive capacity. The child fails to cope up with learning situations and to reason abstractly. Rational thinking becomes practically difficult. The child may have the capacity to succeed in rote learning. The child shows interests in learning where relationships are clearly demonstrated. With regard to retentive memories, the child requires more practice and revision in comparison to a normal child. One of the relevant characteristics of slow learner is poor memory. It occurs due to lack of concentration. It is impossible to say how much a child can learn and retain, although he or she is motivated internally and externally. So experimental evidences reveal that very often the dull children can recall facts about their local cricket team or football team or TV serial or some music as well as its players, but may not be academics. Number 3, classroom situations include distraction and lack of concentration for the slow learning child. This typical behavior is also associated with poor motivation. Again, different studies also report that when the learning materials are presented through a concrete situation, the slow learners or the child with slow learning concentration and attention do not differ significantly from what of a normal child. So the slow learner child learns at a slower rate and they have difficulty in retaining what they learned. So the slow learner child prefers concrete learning to abstract learning. Transfer of learning becomes difficult for slow learner. They lack judgment and common sense and they are highly distractible. The child gains from direct teaching and do not acquire skills incidentally. So a slow learner is an underachiever and has very short span of attention. Their ability to deal with abstract and symbolic material like language, numbers and concepts is very limited, and their reasoning in practical situation is inferior to that of the average students. Research works reveal that the attention span of slow learners is relatively short. So the child also is unable to deal with relatively complex games or school assignments. The child needs much external stimulation and encouragement to do simple work. The child is capable of competing in school in most areas except in strictly academic areas in which performance is below average. He might be very good in sports or acting or singing or music or some other activity where the body is involved. But when it comes to academics, he might be a low performer. Social adjustment is not noticeably different. So in weddings, functions, performance, in family gatherings, they're all the same, like all of us. Well, let me remind you, I too am a slow learner. Although the low segment of the adequate adjustment, occupational performance satisfactory is non-technical areas with total self-support and highly probable. That is, if the child is supported and taught in the way the child learns, every child can perform. Thank you so much for understanding the characteristics of the slow learner so well. Please listen to this audio again and again, so that you do not use this word slow learner for any child. In fact, you should never address a child by this terminology. This is purely for the parent or the teacher to understand the condition of the child, so that you can help the child adequately. Thank you. See you in the next slide.